to reach you with praise from within. Good afternoon, Safe Space family. I am so excited. You hear this beautiful music, which is by our own, which I have present here on Safe Space, Pastor Bonita Pratt, along with her wonderful bishop, pastor husband, Tim Pratt. And I want you all to hear this music because she's such an anointed musician, gospel artist. The song is her latest release, and it's called With My Whole Heart. But welcome to Safe Space. For those of you all that have never been here before, Safe Space is intended to be just that, a safe space, a place to tell stories, a place to train for prayer, a place to meet people at their place of need. We all have things that we would like to change in our lives or things that we struggle with. And I just want everyone to know that no matter what your story is, what your history is, there's always hope in God. Always hope in God. Addiction. I have a cousin that struggled with drug addiction for 44 years. Now he's married for the first time for a year now. He's 65 years old. He is in church every Sunday with his church-going wife. And my family cannot be happier because with such a long-term struggle, we wondered if he would ever get his life clean. And we tried so many times. He went in and out of rehabs, but the story is on Safe Space. It's called A 44-Year Struggle with Drug Addiction. And he was very candid because he's so happy with what God has done for him, because he coded the summer of 2021 6 times in the realm of 12 hours. And God saw fit to keep him here. So that is what Safe Space is about. But tonight again, we have gospel, and I overuse this word, but it's the way I feel. We have gospel royalty here. Again, Bishop and Pastor Bonita and Tim Pratt. Welcome to Safe Space, and thank you for coming.
Thank you so much. We're honored. We are so honored to be here and excited to be in the safe space.
I'm so glad to have you all. But in researching and reading what it is you all do, you're so multifaceted, and you both have such rich histories in the kingdom. I commend you for your long-term sacrifice and staying on the battlefield, because I know it couldn't have been easy. I was talking to my first lady today about being faithful in serving. It doesn't mean that you're not having battles in your own personal life.
That's right.
While you are being diligent and faithful. And so often you're praying for others and you're standing in the gap for others, and you need it yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
You need it yourself. So looking at your history, and I remember asking you what we were going to talk about, and you said love, marriage, and ministry, which sums up this wonderful divine relationship that you all have. I can see that. I read in your information that you feel that you all's commitment and connection to one another was organic as well as divine. And I see that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's Tim's way of describing it. When people ask, that is always his response.
It's obvious. It's obvious. You can tell when people have a genuine love connection and a genuine kingdom purpose. And looking at all of the things that you guys are doing, just a few things. I was looking at the mantra that you talk about in your life. It is consistent with the way both of you have lived. You talk about being intentional, accountable, and consistent. Just tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing. I know you have another single coming. I know you've done 2 interviews on television stations recently. One was taken yesterday that's going to air Friday.
Yes, that's right.
For a Tallahassee station. And then you did one back on May 30th.
Yes, and for WALB Channel 10,
And the one in Tallahassee, give that information.
So on yesterday, for us here in Georgia and the Valdosta area, It's WTXL. That's ABC. And so the first one was NBC. And so, yeah, it was an amazing, 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 yet again, experience, just to share this song. But not only that, I get excited every time that I can share the ministry that both Tim and I have, and how, like Tim says, how the Lord Himself divinely did this for us. And so in this union, we may not be birthing out physical children, but we are birthing out so much spiritual fruit. And so we're grateful. And we're excited about that, especially Shelby. I tell people all the time, because of our age, you know, normally by the time at our age, most would think that life is over. I
No.
mean, let's be honest. I don't mind aging myself. Soon, both of us will be in our 60s before we know it. But yet, God Himself reminds us that in His time, it's never too late. And so when the time is right, He makes all things happen. And so that's what He's doing for Tim and I in ministry. And so we're just super excited. Every day we wake up with those brand new mercies, and we're seeing God's hand moving literally in our lives and on us. And so for that, we say, to God be the glory.
You just reinforced the reason that I had to be obedient with doing Safe Space, because I resisted it for quite a while until I felt this heat on the back of my neck in church one night. And that's a whole nother story. But you spoke to the season in life that you're in, according to the biological time clock. I'm 56. Right. So I know what you mean about staring down 60. Starting a new relationship, starting new endeavors in business, starting new career paths. But one thing about our God, we are not on His time clock.
That's right.
Let me say that differently. He's not on our time clock. That's the way I should say it. He's not on our time clock. And He restores time. He gives youth. He gives new. All you have to do is be faithful and obedient.
Yes.
If you're faithful and obedient to do what it is that He has called you and asked you to do, He determines the time. And so I'm so glad that you and Tim both have that ideology and understand that, and just are going with it, pushing forward and enjoying and operating in all that He has for you. The second song I saw,
the worshiper, that you guys are working,
the worshiper in me.
Yes,
Tell us about it.
I'm gonna let Tim tell you about that.
Okay.
Actually, it is a bit different from With My Whole Heart. It's an up tempo, got a nice jam to it. It got a nice flow to it. It's something going to get your head moving, going to get your feet moving. Your hands won't be able to be still. But the song speaks about her, because she's such a worshiper. And I wrote the song around her, because that's her heart, so the song shouts, worshiper, and that's what it's all about, and the tracks are down. We are getting background singers together to come in and lay the background. Of course, we're going to put her on for the lead and all that stuff. And we're in process of actually planning a video release for this particular song. Yeah, so we're gonna do it big for this particular song, and really thump it out there real good, because we're excited about it.
So excited! I'm so excited. I had the pleasure of hearing her big voice at my church. She came and was the keynote speaker at a women's ministry about 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
And when she got up to sing, well, first of all, she delivers the word like, I need to choose my words carefully here, because I want to communicate to the people what I last saw on 316 in Valdosta at the Transformation Conference. That word that you delivered that day was transformational. And I'm not playing on words. You could tell that it came straight from the throne. There's a certain things of teaching of preaching and people totally operating and delivering a message in such a strong, thick anointing that you know it comes straight from the throne. And that's what you did. It was mesmerizing. It was captivating, because when you know without a shadow of a doubt that you're hearing from the Almighty, it's entrenching. It pulls you, and your word, and He used you because you availed yourself. And because you are a worshiper and you carry such a heavy anointing. You did the same thing at my church the first time that I met you 3 years ago. And you opened your mouth to sing. And I went, wow, this lady's voice is amazing. It's because with your whole heart, it's a beautiful song, has a beautiful melody, but you didn't exercise all those pipes that you have on that song. You kept it real, consistent, and very mellow and kind and sweet. You didn't do the Jennifer Hudson on us.
Right. Shelby, you kept waiting on it. You kept waiting. She gonna do it. She gonna do it.
Because I listened to it the day it dropped, which was the 29th of March, I think it was. I was waiting the day it dropped, because you told us on the 16th. So I was anticipating and watching on social media. So I downloaded it the day it dropped. And I just knew I was going to get the pipes. I said, okay, this is beautiful. This is beautiful, but don't play with me.
And Shelby said, you was waiting on that. It won't always be like this. You was waiting on that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. See, I know what you capable of. I've seen it for myself. Well, every song doesn't call for that. And that's cool. Because that's a beautiful worship piece. Beautiful. So you do what you do. You're versatile. You have that great anointing, that great gift. You do what you do in the times. One of the things that spoke to me about your heart, with your whole heart and being a worshiper, is you said your lyrics serve as a testimony and a reflection in the understanding of God's character as depicted in the scriptures. That is so profound.
Yeah, because you think about it, from the very beginning of time, Shelby, as we understand the life of Christ in the earth, everything that He did for His Father, He did it out of obedience with His heart. And there was no way that He could have done what He did for us except wholeheartedly. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that with this song, it reminds us that every time we give God a yes, that yes has to be all inclusive. We just can't say with my hands, I say yes. We just can't say, God, with my ears, I say yes. But our whole being, the seat of who we are, it sits right here. It sits right here. And so just as Jesus did with the Father, and then the Father, of course, knowing what we needed, would give His Son. They were all in. They were all in. And so with this song, it's just a reminder to us that no matter what the assignment is, no matter what our walk is, the only way that we can present back to God what's due unto Him is to wholeheartedly, with our whole heart, say yes. Because that's just the way He taught us how to serve, with your whole heart.
That's the only way you can do it consistently, though, which is a part of your mantra, for lack of a better term. Accountability, consistency, to be intentional. That is the only way, with the sacrifices sometimes that are called upon us, or that we have to be obedient to do, to be able to facilitate just in our own physical being, to be able to do it, is with our whole heart, and to exercise the character of God. Because this flesh,
a whole mess. A whole mess. We say, ain't nothing good in this. Ain't nothing good in this.
That's why I am constantly feeding this thing, this spirit. I constantly something, I'm reading something, I'm listening to something. I have to constantly, and everyone, if we're being honest with ourselves, would be advised to do that.
Yes.
Because giving no glory to him, Satan and his little nymphs, they're always looking for ways to take advantage of our proclivities, our likes, our shortcomings, our hurts, our passions. However, he can get in to disrupt, kill, steal, and destroy. He's on it. And one thing about them, I have to say this, they're unified. They don't bicker and fight about the task. They understand the assignment. If we could stay unified like that, oh, what adversaries we would be.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I was looking at Mr. Tim's background. Mr. Tim can play saxophone, keyboard, organ, bass, and drums. Yes. So he could just play the whole band by
himself.
And I was looking at it, I said, oh my goodness, was all of this self-taught, Tim?
Actually, saxophone was the only thing I'm classically taught in. Okay. I was classically taught as a saxophonist, but through the grace of God, everything else I learned on my own. And of course, after I learned that, I was enhanced by private lessons and other tutelages and things like that, and of course I've been doing it since 1976. So I've kind of honed my skills a little bit there.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
I see that you write and you produce. I heard you say that you wrote The Worshiper in Me. Did you write Whole Heart?
Actually, we co-wrote it. But I came up with the foundation and we co-wrote the song. I've written, numbers of songs for a lot of local artists. I've never really pursued a national artist, and I probably could have sold so many things, but I just didn't push myself to that extent. And quite honestly, if I can be honest, I was so busy, running the church, back through time.
I saw that. You were in one for over 25 years.
For over 25 years, I ran a church, and I operated the ministry at the highest level of excellence, and I didn't take a lot of time for my personal self because all my time was occupied as far as the church, so I didn't pursue a lot of my dreams and things like that, but I continued to write, continued to produce and record songs and things like that, but I was never able to really promote because I couldn't really get out on the road like a real artist, because as a pastor, you got to be at the church every Sunday, every Wednesday, and every time somebody gets sick and every time somebody dies, you got to be there for all that. So
it's a lot.
Now it's a lot, and I praise God, and I stepped away for a little while, because I was honestly burned out. A lot of people won't say this, but pastors run out of gas, and a lot of people, we won't say that, and we'll just go on and drive a church in the ground, instead of, backing away, taking a break, refueling, refreshing, and letting God, reinvent you. There's nothing wrong with that. We're so scared to say, hey, I ain't Superman. I need a break from this. And I don't know why pastors are so afraid to be human, and to act like, we don't need any help. We don't need a break, but I did, and I took it, and I was criticized a lot and still am. But you know what? I'm on the bounce back now. Bonita and our ministry is taking off. We're wanted by a lot of places, and we're being very, judicious in our choices, because we want to plant our feet in somewhere that's going to be, beneficial to the kingdom as well as to us. And quite honestly, right now, Shelby, at this time in our life, we ain't got time for the games. So we are taking our time, about moving forward at our own pace, at God's pace, of course. But we're not scared to say no. you know, and when
And that's
tell
good.
her, yeah. When I met Bonita, Bonita said yes to everybody. She was a yes girl. She didn't turn anybody down. I had to teach her the benefit of the sanctified no. That
I had
there
to
is a
teach Tim, you could probably teach me a little of that too. I'm working on it.
well,
Sanctified no. It's a sanctified no.
No is your friend.
It is. And it
A
comes a
complete
time in
sentence.
life. It comes a time in life that is very appropriate. But when you first began to say it, Tim, and I'm sure you both can attest to this. She said no. She said no.
Yeah.
She's not going to accommodate me. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
Right.
I had to fight through the guilt of that.
Yeah.
Which was self-imposed and a trick.
Yeah. I still am. And it is amazing how I also learned, but you know, and I learned this lesson through my dad. I remember having a conversation with him about, you know, people loving me and, you know, things like that. And he said, Bonita, they don't love you. He said, they love what you do for them. They love how you make them feel, and they love how you make them look, but they don't love you. And he said, and if you think I am not speaking truth, say no.
No.
Take one time and don't show up.
That's right.
Don't do what they thought you should do, and you will learn that they don't love you. And so that is a very hard lesson that I've learned now in this, you know, being married. Another addition to the career is that those that I thought would be like, girl, we got you, and yet,
it's scarce. It's scarce. And you were there holding it down for them for every nuance, up, down, valley in your life.
That's right.
And the people that will be there for you will be the ones that you would thought would not. It thins out greatly.
Yes, it did. It did. It sure did. It sure did. But can I tell you this? Learned the lesson. And the only thing that I can do is tell my husband and tell God, thank you, because you know, you're running after people and you're doing for people, and you're being the heartbeat and the pulse of those relationships, and you didn't even realize that when you pull back, you were doing all the pouring,
all the work. And you know what's so amazing too, Bonita? You have to really look at God and say, thank you for sustaining me. That we did not pour so much out that we tuckered out and fell to the floor.
Yeah. And so, you know, I'm so grateful that, and not just saying this because we're live, but I am so appreciative to the fact that with Tim, everything that I pour, I get right back.
And that's a blessing.
You know what I mean? And so I'm with him so much, and many would say, well, God, every time you turn around, you got to be with him. It's not that I have to be, I want to be.
That's right.
You get what I'm saying? I want to be. The laughter that I pour, I get it right back. The wisdom, but everything that I pour into him, I get it right back.
It's refreshing.
Oh, girl. Listen. Listen. I can remember days not even caring whether or not I would go home, you know, because I just want to do all the busy work. But now I be want to come home. I be want to come home.
Understand. I do.
So yeah,
you don't have Lord, a blank face staring back at you, saying nothing.
Yeah.
Or if you don't make the fun, or if you don't have the wisdom, or if you don't, nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Right.
And
that's the look. But you know, Tim and I, whether we are out and about or whether we are home alone in the car, wherever, it's always a good day. It's a good time. I just know that this is certainly my gift.
Yeah.
And that's a blessing.
Yeah, he is my gift. He is. And so I take care of my gift, girl.
I don't blame you. You should.
I spend time with my gift. You
I
hear
don't
me?
blame you. You had to
I
wait
love
all
my
this
gift.
time. You better use your time.
Baby, I love my gift.
I don't blame you.
My gift.
I don't blame you. Because it is far and few between. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, I want to speak to that, and I want to speak to something Tim said, because it came up on my 2-year anniversary show.
Okay.
My cousin, that's about 10 years younger than me, he's about 45, 46. He pastors 2 churches. He is a bishop. He's assistant director of the DOT for the state of Alabama, IT department. He's been married to his high school sweetheart for over 20 years. Their oldest son is about to start his first year at Alabama A&M, and the baby girl just turned 8. So it's 10 years between the kids.
Wow.
And his parents are still living. They have a huge event center down in Alabama, where I'm from. So he's stretched thin. But you know what he said on his 2-year anniversary show? He's written 2 books. One is about capacity, and he teaches that concept corporately as well as in churches. And what it speaks to is leadership, understanding the capacity of those that report to them, whether it's in their home, on their job, or in their church. Because when you don't understand their capacity, it causes frustration for the leader and anxiety for the subordinate.
Yeah.
So he said, I went through a state of depression as a pastor. We had a lot of deaths in my family during COVID. And he said it really hit him hard, and he needed to see about himself. And he was glad that he had the humility as a pastor and a bishop to recognize that he is human, and that he wondered if he was supposed to do this forever. The same thing Tim just said. He said, I don't know if I'm supposed to do this forever. I know this is a subject a lot of pastors are not comfortable in having, but I'm human. And I think, Tim, to that point, that's the reason some fall.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Getting outside of God and running on self fumes, you know, you're gonna run out of gas, man. You know, and sadly enough, pastors, whether we want to admit it or not, we are results driven. Anybody that says they're not results driven, they're lying to you. You want to see people in this, you want to see people in the chairs, you want to see money coming in, you want to see the calendar being booked. And when those things are not happening, then you try to make them happen. And what you do is overextend yourself. And the time that you should be spending at home, you're spending on the church, the ministry, the business, all that stuff. And before you know it, all your time is gone, and you have nothing left for yourself or a relationship that you're in. And those things begin to crumble, you know. So, man, I tell anybody, step back, take a break, take a sabbatical, you know, whatever you need to do to keep your sanity, because you can lose yourself in the church. People don't realize that. You can be so church-minded that you know good in the world outside the church. And folk may say, that sounds like blasphemy. I don't care what you say. I lived it.
Right. And when you fail at home, you failed everywhere. That's your first ministry. And it's amazing that you mentioned the word sabbatical, because I said to him when he said it that night, my goddaughter's parents are pastor and first lady down in Villa Rica, and I had never heard of this before. They took a sabbatical from their church for 3 months, and it's something that they do, I think, on a regular basis. I don't know how frequent, but it's not the first time they had done it. So in talking to her mom, she said, we're on sabbatical right now. I said, huh? She said, we're on sabbatical for 3 months. I send my tithe, but we don't go to the church. He does not preach. We do nothing during this period of time until we return back. I said, really? She said, yes. I mean, it was so foreign to me.
Right.
But I think it is a good thing, because one thing I have always been a big supporter and proponent of is people not giving pastors grace.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
They are, yes,
Yes.
they are appointed. Yes, they are anointed, but they are human.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. And we don't get that grace.
Yeah.
They hold them
We
at a
don't.
standard that they can't even perform themselves.
Yes,
Come
ma'am.
on.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, and we don't get that grace. There's none perfect but the Father, but they forget that.
One.
They forget that there's only one and you're right. And I'll let Tim, because of his years of pastoring, I always try to figure that piece out. Why is it pastors and leaders, why don't we get that grace?
Yeah. Well, we're so good at extending ourselves that people get used to us doing that, and we get used to doing that, quite honestly, such that it becomes routine for us to just be the fixers. Whatever the problem is, we just fix it. No matter
Right.
how much it affects us, we just fix it. No matter what the detriment is or the loss, we just fix it. So everybody gets used to that. So if at any time we are not a fixer, then we're called to the carpet, because people have that expectation on leadership unfairly sometimes. And I've had people leave church for some of the most ridiculous reasons. The choir wasn't singing this, or didn't like the way their name was called on a particular program, or
You can come to the hospital.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I had this family, and I'm not going to call any names. I had this family that had death in the family, and I went to, as soon as the individual died, and I went multiple days. But did you not know their family held something against me because I was not there every single day? Every
Day.
Did you say every day?
Every day. So you come to expect, as a leader, that you just got to be the one always standing in the gap, and the only problem is, if you don't stand in the gap, it's just a gap, because nobody else is stepping up a lot of times, so that's the way it goes.
So we just
That's a
not going to
lot.
get that grace.
We're not going to get that grace.
That's a lot. But I have noticed that. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Can y'all give them some grace? They're human. We need grace. You get it the way you give it, remember?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ease up. And then, with my first lady being a personal friend of mine for over 30 years, I see some things. I mean, they get calls at midnight.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're expected to be, as you said, at the bedsides,
Right.
to comfort during the time of loss.
Yeah.
And even when there are ministries in place to handle some of these things,
right?
Some people want the attention of the pastor.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
And I'm like, there are only two people.
Yeah.
It's out of us.
Right.
And
Baby,
so
they don't want the deacons.
It's baffling
They
to
don't want
me
the elders
sometimes.
of the church.
They're very unreasonable expectations
Yeah.
that they place on pastors and leadership. And you guys have my prayers. I was telling my first lady today, I'm on a prayer line every morning with mostly seniors. It's out of Alabama, where my spiritual mom is, which is west of here going toward Birmingham. But one thing I can say about those old saints, they pray about things that are relevant, that sometimes get missed in current day church or society. For instance, they pray for pastors constantly. It's almost, I know, 3 to 4 mornings of the week, and we do it Monday through Friday. Someone in their prayer is going to cover not only their pastor, but all pastors and all pastors in the churches that are represented on that call. They undergird them constantly because it is something that is needed. That is a position I don't envy.
Yeah.
I don't, because
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
the gravity of it and how deep that it can run and how hard it is to deal with us sometimes.
You're right.
It's hard.
We
But
something else.
I told you that flesh.
Mm.
No good thing in it. No
So
good
what,
thing in it.
guys, answer me this. What
Okay.
is practically speaking?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah.
So we were talking one night. Matter of fact, the question that I posed to Tim was, tell me about the vision for us. Just wanting to hear his heart. And one of the things that he mentioned to me was he wanted us to host a podcast. And so I was like, really? And I was like, and so what I would be on the podcast. And so he told me about the different topics and the audience, and all of that. And I said, we got to give it a name. We got to give it a name. And so we were throwing names back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, I don't know, were you or me?
I don't know.
But practically speaking popped up. And we both was like, yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I love the way it's spelled.
So we were like, okay. And so we just, place that vision before the Lord. And so whenever the Lord gives us that release, to understand what our platform is and what our message is, practically speaking, it's coming. And matter of fact, Tim has already begun with the graphics for it. So that's what practically speaking is all about. It's about the Pratts.
Well, when I saw it, I said, "Oh, that's so cute. That is really a cute play on their name. The spelling of it, that was so clever. I cannot wait for practically speaking. I think it's going to be a great platform, however he guides you and directs you, because he will tell you exactly what he wants you to do, who he wants you to interview. It when he puts it on you, you'll know exactly. And I know you have so much going on. I was reading all of the things you have going on. And tell me about Darius night.
Listen, baby boy. So both of us, we have two sons.
I saw
and
that
so
one.
There's Trey, and then there's Darius, and they, believe it or not, they're the same age, and that's something.
What?
But so Darius, at a young age, at a very young age, would always write poems and little scripts and things like that. And so he came up with this idea about his book, and he and Tim, and I'll probably need to let Tim talk about the book more than myself, because he and Tim audiobook talking, throwing back ideas. But Darius has published 2 books. And so on tomorrow, he'll be featured on NBC here locally, featuring his 2 books. And so I'm just peacock proud.
You
am
have
so
to
proud of
be.
that boy. I am so proud of Darius. And so he matter of fact, you can find his books on Amazon.
Give the information. Give us information and
any digital platform, Amazon more specifically. But if you type The Secret of Spirit Energy by Darius Knight, you're gonna find it on any paper or printed or digital platform. The Secret of Spirit Energy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little dark world.
It's okay. When I saw that, I said, "Oh, how exciting! How proud!" Be. That's very good. That's wonderful. Do this for me.
Okay.
I'm so excited about all that's happening for you all, and I cannot wait to see Practically Speaking and the other things, to hear the worshiper in me and all the other things that God is going to bring to fruition using the 2 of you. And I know when 60 comes, I may not be able to find you, because you may be somewhere in the world that
over in
I
Paris somewhere. Shelby, did you see the layout in Voyage Atlanta?
Yes, I did.
You got to see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was
Yes,
another
I did.
amazing.
It's so much it's so much happening. I know you have to feel a little overwhelmed, but you got the right man beside you. He has all of this by the horn. He knows how to say no, when to say no. He's not bothered, pressured, or rushed. He knows through his communication with his father what invitation to accept and the other ones to respectfully decline. So that has to be a very comforting feeling for you.
To not have it to do it alone. Yes.
And to be able to rely upon his judgment, because you know that he sups with the Lord and consults with him, and you see the results of the decisions that he's made through the wisdom that God has imparted in him. That's a very comforting feeling for a woman.
Yes, absolutely.
I heard you say you asked him what you all's future looked like for him to respond to you and have a plan. That's comforting for a woman, especially a woman that has lived her life at any period of time, and she had to be the head of household.
That's right. That's right. That's right. When she's got it, that is absolutely, and that's what I was telling. Another thing that I love about Tim is, though I be a strong woman, I love that the fact that in this marriage, it's an option.
That's right.
I don't have to be strong if I don't want to be strong.
That's
and
right.
If I want to wimp out and be just wimpy, it's okay. And so I love how now I have an option. You know,
it makes you more feminine, doesn't it?
Good. You know what I told him when he asked me when we were preparing to be married, he said, what is one of the things you're looking forward to most? And I said, just being your girl.
That's right.
Not evangelist, not coordinator, decorator, not speaker, preacher, teacher, but just being his girl.
That's comforting.
So I'm love just being his girl.
I understand. So often I've heard men say in the past that women are strong or boastful or not feminine enough. But when you head a household, or you go to a job, or basically I should say all of the above, that gives you a living wage, whereas you can be head of household. When you deal with car repairs, home repairs, when you deal with the world alone, you have to exude a certain level of confidence and strength. Because if you do not, the damsel in distress doesn't come out well.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So to have a mate that allows you to be his girl.
You know, and I'm gonna tell you something, Shelby, something you said that I think is profound. You said when a woman exudes confidence and exudes strength, you never said masculinity.
No.
You know, and I think that's the mistake that society makes, in that a woman that's overbearing, strong, confident, that she's trying to be masculine. That's not it at all. You know, she's just being confident. Now, if you're a man, you know how to handle that. The problem is, you know, a lot of men can't handle a strong woman because they're not a strong man. But a strong man and a strong woman naturally goes together.
That's right.
You know, naturally goes together. So I appreciate the fact that she's a strong woman. I appreciate the fact that she's a confident woman. I appreciate that. I love that, you know, and because I want her to be able to stand and things like that. But, you know, if she don't feel like standing, she don't have to. You know, if she don't want to stand, she don't have to. You know, if somebody look crazy, you know, I still got the ghost, but I throw your hands too. You know, I'm just, no, here we go.
But you know, that's wonderful, because a woman needs to feel protected. She needs to feel proclaimed, and she needs to be provided for. Even if she can herself. Being single for 20 years, I married my high school sweetheart right out of college, and I was married 11 years, but I was single from my early 30s to my early 50s. And I remember the first time I had someone to paint. My house is brick front, and then it's hardy plank on 3 sides. And a gentleman came out to paint the house. In 6 months, the paint on my shutters from where the sun was coming up on the front side of my house was fading.
Oh, wow.
Because I went straight from my parents and my grandparents, because they were like the second set of parents. They lived one house down from my mom and dad and my mother's parents, to my husband. And he was a great guy. We were just young and victimized, but he was a great provider. He was a great person. So a lot of things I didn't have to deal with. I never had to deal with the repair of a car until I was alone. I never had to deal with the repair of a house. Basically, I got taken advantage of a lot until I got my confidence to be strong, to present myself that way from the beginning. So then they knew, don't try this on her, you know. And a lot of times when women come across, because we can, in some instances, overbearing, it's because of hurt. It's because of things that have happened to them in their life, and they don't mean to be victimized again. And so it's not that they're trying to be a man. No woman. My pastor asked this question one day in service. How many of you all, and at the time I was the head of household, that are head of household want to be? Not one woman stood up.
Not one.
We were not created to be that way. Sin and the way the world has evolved have put us in that situation. And women, I don't even have children, but failure was not an option for me. I was going to maintain my home, give myself a certain lifestyle if it almost killed me. So failure was not an option. And God enabled me to do that. And so I get what you're saying, and I get what Bonita's feeling and what she's experiencing with you in her life. I get all of that. And only intelligent, strong men that are not intimidated and willing to step into the role that they were supposed to be in understand it. Some of them understand it. They don't want to take on the full responsibility of what they're supposed to be doing. So they act as if they don't understand it.
Right. But Tim totally understands.
He understands the assignment.
And I love it. Yes, ma'am.
And you see that in his wife. A woman's wife is a man's wife is his glory. You see the glory of God on you because of the type of husband he is. You see it.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. I know once they saw Tim somewhere and they was like, your husband bright skin, but I promise he seems brighter since he's been married to you. And I was like, yes, ma'am, he is. He is.
So you both are shining. How about that?
Yes, ma'am. But God,
I want to thank you all so much. So what I want you all to do is you have recording, you have booking. You could be booked for a lot of things, the both of you. Give all of your information, because I'm going to sneak this last accolade in. I saw that you were on Hezekiah's 20th.
Yes, ma'am.
Countdown.
Good. Listen, and you know what was so funny, Shelby? We missed it. We didn't even know. We just started getting text and phone calls. We missed it. Didn't even hear it. And so we called the radio station to confirm. We was like, was her? And he was like, yes, ma'am, number 5. We was like,
Now, that's God blessing all over the place. When you're missing accolades like that and you don't know.
Didn't even know we were on that. So just all we can say is, God, thank you. Just thank you. Yeah. So listen, so we are so open to ministry, going out into the world, sharing not only in song, but in the word itself. And so you can reach out to either Tim or I, of course, where you can find us on Facebook, of course. On my Facebook page is Bonita Pratt and Tim Pratt. And at some point we are going to merge those together. But right now we do have the 2 pages. And of course, my phone number can be found there, as well as Tim's. And so just reach out to us. We look for, and not only that, Shelby, another thing that we are definitely interested in is marriage ministry at this age.
I was going to ask you that. That was something I thought about before we came on. I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because reading your stuff, it came to my head today. I wonder if they're interested in doing marriage ministry.
We are. We are. Marriage for this age, because you think about it, Shelby, those ages 30 to 40, they're movers and shakers, and there's so much out there available to them,
Yes.
But then what about at my age, and you get married and you go through menopause?
You talking to me? Tony is Caucasian. He used to freeze me. But when I entered menopause, we are the same temperature now.
Baby.
He's not.
Conversation is different. It is different than a couple that's in their 20s and 30s. So we are so that's one of the things that we're really pushing is marriage ministry. Of course, we want to impart into those younger couples, but this age group, can we talk? Because this conversation is going to be different.
Yes. Just the big M that you spoke about makes everything different.
I feel like I'm walking in a wind tunnel, fans going, air drop down. I told him, Shelby, I said, that's what you get for marrying an old broad. Baby, it's different.
It is.
Yeah.
So right.
So we definitely, like I said, we would definitely mentor, those young girls, but we want to speak to our age group.
I get it.
Because it's different.
Yes, it is.
Different. So
it is.
So that is another one of the things that we want to talk about.
And there are a lot of people in our generation that are marrying.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looking to be married.
That's right.
This age is younger in so many ways than previous generations in this age range.
Yes.
I remember people that were in our age range in previous generations, they just were much older, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
And in so many aspects from the way they lived their lives to the things they did to even to the way they looked. They just were older. The 50s have a whole, and even 60s and 70s have a whole different meaning now. So
that's right.
I met a lady the other day that married again at 87.
See?
Yeah.
See?
Her husband was 83. She had been their long-term neighbor. His wife died.
Wow.
They
got married. See?
Yeah.
And she moved in with him, and she was the spunkiest, most alive woman. Initially, I heard her voice. And my hairstylist, we have the same hairstylist. She was doing my hair. She said, "How do you think she is?" I said, "I don't know." She said, "How about 87?" I said, "No.
No way. No way." That's right. I'm telling you, it's different. It is different now. We walk around here, though about 60, but that's, you look, it's like, she's how old? He's how old? Yeah. But baby, it's different.
You're right. And I think that's a whole niche. Even if you only minister to couples in this age range. It's a huge audience out there. And a lot of them, as I just said, are newlyweds.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. That's right. And so when I compare being a newlywed at this age from the first time in that age, baby, it's different.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
and
ma'am.
I love it.
Yes, ma'am. I get it.
I love it.
There's so many things that you don't have to worry about or even choose to worry about.
You hear me?
Right.
You've done enough living to understand that it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. I love you
That's
guys. Thank you so much. So,
Oh,
so,
you're
so
very welcome. You're very
for
welcome.
Thank
coming
you. You
by
gotta have
Safe
this on
Space.
again. We gotta come back again. We
I
gotta
would
come back.
love to.
We
It's
gotta do a
about
part two.
when you're in Paris now, you got to answer my call.
I'll be sure. I'll be sure too.
Or when you get ready to get your Grammy, you got to
Right.
answer my call.
I'm gonna answer the call.
Don't forget the little people.
Right. Right.
Don't forget the little people. When you're about to do that Grammy, can see I'm gonna text you. Right.
Right. We got you. We got you. You can come on the
I'm gonna-
red carpet with us.
I'm there. You don't have to ask me once. And I won't, I promise, I will not embarrass you and I will dress appropriately.
Bring your girl with you, because you know you got to bring your girl with you now.
I got you.
Bring
She will probably beat me to the plane.
Lady Garment, you got to Lady Garment, you heard me? You come on.
She'll beat me to the plane. You better come on.
Yeah,
So
but I gotta get back up there.
You
I need to
do,
get back
and
up
she
there and
really
talk to
wants you to
them.
come to the women's retreat too. We're really ramping
I was
up.
looking at that. But you
it's
know what, Shelby?
October.
I think that's the same weekend that I'm going to be ministering for the first time in Connecticut.
Oh,
Yeah, I think that's the same weekend that I'll be doing a women's conference out in Connecticut. So, and I'm excited about that. I've never
yeah.
been to Connecticut, don't know anybody there. But just to know that they heard about me and extended that invitation to come out and be their main speaker for their women's conference. So I'm excited about it. But
I know
yeah,
you do a beautiful job. I have no
I
doubt.
already told my baby, you know you're going, right? So we'll be flying out to Connecticut that same weekend. But if it were not for that, certainly I would have joined you ladies.
And I would have
Yeah.
loved,
Yeah.
we would have loved to have had you, but you go and bless the people in the Northeast. We're not
Yeah.
going to be selfish. We're going to let them experience the blessing that is Bonita Pratt and Tim Pratt. Okay?
Yeah.
So we're not going to
Yeah.
act like that. But again, your Facebook page is Bonita Moore Pratt and his is Tim.
Yeah.
Your contact
Yes.
information as far
Yes.
as booking you guys for any of the things that you do is there.
Mhm.
Correct?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
That's correct.
And
It sure is.
the song, the single, is on all electronic platforms, correct?
That's right. That's right. That's
Okay.
right. That's
You all
right.
heard a little bit of it at the beginning of the show. It's a beautiful song. We're waiting with bated breath and anticipation for the second song and for
Yeah.
the video and all the things that you're going to do for that song. I am so
Yeah.
happy for you. I am so
Thank
glad to
you.
see God moving in your life and blessing
Yeah.
all the ways that he's doing. You are
Yeah.
so deserving. This is the time. It is his time. And you just
That's right.
continue to move forward in it and be blessed and bask in saying no when it's appropriate.
I will. I promise. I got it.
And if you guys, for some reason, can't find them, you can always go to Safe Space. My page is Safe Space with Shelby
Absolutely.
Arrington. Facebook, I will get them the information on a
That's
beeline.
right.
I promise you.
That's
If you
right.
need to reach out
That's
to them, you can go to Safe Space on Instagram or on Facebook. DM me, send me a message, whatever you need to do. Right now, I'm
Yeah.
having some difficulty with my website. You would be able to send me a message through that way, but do the social media platforms also. You can,
Yeah.
and please send this
Mhm.
show everywhere because I know that it's going to bless someone somewhere, even if it's someone
Amen.
that's experiencing loneliness and never
Yeah.
thought that God would send them their mate.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
a living example that he
That's
does it
right.
in his time and that
That's
it's
right.
never too late. And
That's
it's
right.
the best is yet to come. In all situations,
Absolutely.
there is always hope in the Lord. No matter
Amen to
what,
that. Amen
always.
to that.
Thank
Amen
you
to
guys
that.
for coming. Thank you
Thank
so
Yeah.
much. I've enjoyed you so much. And please, we will do a part two.
Absolutely.
We'll look at some dates maybe in early 2025 because I know at that point you'll have so much more to talk about. Let me
That's
know
right.
when you're started practically speaking. Also, let me know when you're moving forward in that marriage ministry because I heard that in my head today and I almost forgot to speak about it. And you brought it up.
Yes, ma'am. We're doing it. We're doing it.
Amen. Amen. You all have a wonderful evening and thank you so much. And thank you
Thank you,
all for
Shelby.
listening. This is Shelby from Safe Space. Good night, Pratts, and have a wonderful evening.
Good
Good
night.
night.